Before I start this video, let me preface it by saying that this is on my server, but the server is not public and it never will be public. Please do not ask for the IP. What is up, guys? Today we are going to be taking an in-depth look at the fire alarm system at BossDomain. Now, before we get started, this is done completely in vanilla with no mods and no plugins. Let's go ahead and get started. So here we are at the fire alarm panel itself. This is the main controller for everything, and as you can see from the last video you saw this, it has grown from 9 to 15 zones. We're going to go ahead and go over the zones really quick here. So up at the top we have the commercial buildings here at BossDomain. Starting off at the top left we have Boss Coffee dining area and the VIP lounge at Boss Coffee. And Boss Offices doesn't have anything hooked up to it because there's nothing in those buildings yet, so for right now it's just empty. And then below that we have the 3 zones for Boss Shop. We have Boss Pub, which is the restaurant, and then we have the lobby and the shop area of that building. And going down here in the middle row right here, we have my lab, the bunker, and Sky Domain zone. And then the bottom 6 are for the building that we are in right now. So that's BossDomain's mansion, level 1, 2, 3, basement, bedroom, and cave system. Now, really quick, a note about this panel is that it's not really the panel, all it is a annunciator. If you look back here, all you're going to see is a couple of note blocks, a couple command blocks, a redstone block for the system normal indicator. This is the internal piezo that the panel now has, and this is the success tone for resetting. Right here is the actual mechanics room for this panel. This is at a centralized location in BossDomain's campus right here. Basically this is where everything happens. It just makes it easier doing it this way to have annunciators in other buildings. So let's go ahead and get started with the alarm relay right here, which is this cluster of command blocks. I've labeled a few of them. This one activates the march time coder, this one activates the strobe max, this one turns off the system normal indicator, and this one turns on the alarm indicator. Right here, this one activates the piezo coder, which is right over there, as you can see. I'll show you that in a little bit here. Right here, this one activates the march time coder, and the other ones do other things. This one activates the code 3 coder right there, and this one turns off the silence lamp because this does have a re-alarm here. Over here we have the reset relay. None of these are labeled, but it basically just does the reverse of what this relay right here does. Going down under the reset and alarm relays, we have the horn max. There's only a pair of command blocks for each building, and the way that works is because I have the actual knacks for the strobes and the horns in the buildings, just so it makes the panel size a little bit smaller. So you can see we have BossDomain House, and then Boss Shop, and Sky Domain, and Boss Coffee has one as well, although I think I'm going to change that up just a little bit. And over here is a 75 beat per minute march time coder that I ended up not using, but it's still here. And over here we have the Strobe Max. Now this is very much the same thing that the horn knacks do, except this one is non-silenceable and you can't change the coding on it. This right here is the coder for the strobes. Basically pulses them at around 75 beats per minute. These command blocks just set redstone blocks and air and the actual knacks that I will show you in just a little bit. Over here is the very slow coder for the piezo, and as you can see there's 3 command block pairs right here. That's because there's 3 annunciators throughout the campus right now. And down over this way is the device that activates the success tone, I guess is the best way I can put it. Basically this just plays the success tone when the panel resets. These repeaters are here to delay it until after the lamp test has completed for the tone to play. Over here we have the code 3 coder. Pretty basic design. It is the best way I have found to get code 3 working in Minecraft though. It's pretty much perfect. And this is the 75 beat per minute march time coder right here. Now this is for changing coding. The system is in code 3 right now, so if I were to change it to march time, this would go away and one would get placed right there. That's literally all that happens when I switch coding. Very simple design. This is the actual buttons for the panel right here. Basically the buttons in the annunciators set redstone blocks here, 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 and here, and that's what makes the panel do its thing. Really quick, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the success tone and lamp test for you. There you go. So right here we have the actual NACs. This is in SkyDomain's attic right here. The big one right here is for the strobes. Basically all this does is set redstone blocks behind each strobe, and then this one sets it back to air so they flash. Same concept here with the horn NAC right here, except instead of setting redstone blocks behind redstone lamps, it sets it right in the middle of my Tritone Sounder. And last up, in terms of how the panel works, this is the Annunciator Broadcaster system. Basically, the panel itself sets redstone blocks here, and then these command blocks set them at the Annunciator. So as you can see, we have them labeled. We have main panel in BossDomain, Annunciator in Boss Shop, and then SkyDomain's Annunciator. Very basic design, but it actually works quite well. In the same room, we have these weird clusters of command blocks. Basically, this allows me to only need one command block behind each pull station instead of two. So basically, if I were to pull a pull station in the basement, it would set a redstone block right there. One of the command blocks would set it back to air. One of them would turn on the indicator at the panel, and the final one would put the panel into alarm. So with the explanation of how the panel itself works done, it's time to move on to pull stations and notification appliances. So right here, this is the pull station design. It's very basic. It's just a sign that says pull station with the DSN services logo and a button. And behind the button is a command block that sets a redstone block where it needs to be set for the system to activate. And the strobe is basically what you would expect. It's just a redstone lamp with a fire alarm sign on top of it. Now the outside strobes are just a little bit different. Because I have automatic lights that are redstone lamps that come on at night, I decided to use my weird torch design. Just because it looks different than the redstone lamps, I figured it would be a little easier to differentiate. As you can see, the sun's going down and the lights automatically came on at BossDomain and over at Boss Shop as well. This is the Tritone Sounder that I developed. A lot of people have told me it sounds weird, but I think it sounds a lot nicer than just having a single tone note block. It instead gives you 3 tones at the same time. So this is what makes the sound in BossDomain. We did have a system at one point that used a play sound command, but I never liked that, so I went back to using actual sounders throughout the building. Alright, now that the explanation is done, it's time to give you guys a demonstration. Let's go ahead and pull this pull station. Listen to that code 3. That's pretty good if I do say so myself. And another added benefit of this panel is that the strobes are in perfect sync throughout all buildings, all rooms, everything. Look at that. That's pretty nice. And you can see what I was talking about here with the redstone block being placed to make the note blocks make sound. As you can hear, coverage is pretty good outside as well, and here is the redstone torch flashing. So you can see that the lamps and the torch are on and off at the exact same time, which I think is pretty nice. And now let's silence that with the Annunciator. This is one of the Annunciators. This is in the basement of Boss Shop. We're going to go ahead and hit silence. And then to stop the piezo, you hit acknowledge. And there it is. And as you can see, we do have audible silence right here. All of these strobes continue flashing. As you can see there. And of course, they are still synchronized. Now the Annunciators do a lamp test as well. And it's still got that bug. I gotta figure out what's wrong with that. So now that you've seen and heard the system, I'm gonna go ahead and switch it to March time, and also show you guys what these zone indicators look like. So we're gonna go around and pull a few pull stations. Let's start here. There's that good old 75 beat per minute march time. Synchronized strobes, of course. Very nice. We're gonna go in here and pull the bedroom pull station as well. And there is 2 strobes in this room as well. I might move this one somewhere else though. And there you go. We activated level 3, basement, and bedroom. Now you'll notice the strobes are still flashing, but the alarm has been silenced. Now if you reactivate any zone, it unsilences and unacknowledges itself, so the alarms start going again, and so does the internal piezo inside the panel. And you can reset right from alarm as well. Alright, going into Boss Shop now. I've downsized the amount of pull stations I have around this place because I used to have like, I think 6 in this room, which was ridiculous. There's now only 3, there's one on either side here, and one right by the exit. And then going up to Boss Pub here, we have another area where there used to be 6 pull stations. There's now only 3. We got one by this dance floor here, we have one by the bar area, and another right by the exit. And 3 strobes for this area as well. Now, upstairs in what was eventually going to be the kitchen for Boss Pub, but never ended up happening, is, all that's up here is another one of the Tritone Sounders, and, oh gosh, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 pull stations for the original system. Now, if you guys are curious about the original system, come back next Friday, where I will be doing a in-depth video about the history of fire alarm systems here at BossDomain. As you can see, coverage here is very nice as well. The 3 strobes are synchronized. Even back here at Boss Shop Amusement we have alarm coverage. And 2 strobes out here. Also synchronized, of course. You can see them flashing in sync with the strobes inside. Alright, and here in the bunker we have 3 strobes, which is way overkill for this area. I'm probably just going to downsize it to 1. But we also have a different type of pull station. This is a more industrial type deal with an older sign that needs to be replaced, but it does still work with the new system. Now you'll notice that the sounder is just a little bit different in this room. You hear that? Just a little bit different. That's actually the second iteration Tritone Sounder that I made. The reason it's different elsewhere in the building is because I revamped the system before I got my server back up, so I didn't have World Edit and I couldn't copy and paste it, so I tried to replicate it as good as I could, and we ended up with the lower tone Tritone Sounder. But here it is right back here. That's how that works. Strobes in here are, of course, synchronized as well, except this one's a little delayed, and I'm not sure why, but it doesn't matter because all except this one are going away pretty soon. Keep listening to this. And now we'll go back to BossDomain. You can hear the difference there. Since we're down here, here's the cave system. Still got the cave garden with some strobes. That's pretty cool. And we also have another pull station. And a cat. And as you can see, we have a alarm condition in the bunker and the cave system now. So the last place I need to show you before I end the video is up here in Sky Domain. Now, Sky Domain is... I don't really know why I built it, but it looks pretty cool inside, I think. So up here we have the loft bed area with some cats. What do we got? We got Lip Boy Cat Jr., and of course Mad Fire. Gotta have the cats. Right here we have a pull station and a strobe. And down here we finally have strobes everywhere there needed to be strobes. As you can see, there's plenty of strobe coverage in here now. And since this area is so wide open, I decided to use my in-floor design pull stations here. Just because it's a little bit nicer than having to go all the way over here to pull a pull station. The only reason there's 2 pull stations here is for symmetry. It would drive me crazy if there was only one on one side. So you can see all of the strobes in here are synchronized as well, and there's also a mix of the high and low tone Tritone Sounders in this building. If you stand right here, you can hear both of them at the same time. And of course you can see all the strobes flashing here as well. Out here in the green room where you can overlook the entire domain, we have another pull station and a strobe, as well as my watchdog. And now let's reset that with the second bugged annunciator that doesn't turn on its system normal light. I have no idea why that happens because the command blocks in the annunciators do the exact same thing as it does in the actual panel at BossDomain, but as you can see, if I reset here at BossDomain, the system normal light works just fine. For those curious, this is the model number I came up with for this panel. It is actually a different panel than you saw in the last video because there's now 15 zones, and instead of a realarm button, it's a acknowledge button. A little secret about the realarm button is it literally did the exact same thing as the fire drill button, so I just decided to replace it with an acknowledge button and put a piezo in there. Anyway though guys, that is going to be it for this video explaining the BossDomain fire alarm system. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you're interested in this kind of stuff, come back next Friday. I will be doing a video on the history of the fire alarm systems in this building. But until then guys, that is going to be it. Thank you for watching.